Hi, my name is Julie Ziegler. This is for History of Contemporary Art, based on the project reading Myth Today. Myth functions as a speech act with particular meaning. Myth is a system of communication, a language, which then transverses into a message, which turns into a signification of form. This form then branches off into a communication, a type of communication which becomes a description of form, a new way to perceive a visual interpretation. As a result of this visual interpretation, according to their substance, being then mythical objects, which then become illusionary thoughts or dreams. Barthes suggests that because the sense is not defined by its content, but its meanings, the meanings then become a result in how the content was delivered. If form is then delivering this meaning, it is then myth's system of communication, revealing language's hidden attributes which no one speaks of. The language was studied systematically as a source of communication, which language then becomes Saussur's view of language as a system of signs for humanities. System of signs for humanities continues from the 1950s onwards. Human history, for example, condenses this reality into speech, which rules life and death of a mythical language. Myth then becomes meaning, which becomes heart, which becomes life. Historically, revealing the quality or past memories as myth because it can no longer be the same as it once was. Saussure describes the linguistic sign as a double entity, one formed by the association of two terms. The forms do not consist of something that can be named, but a form in which signifies the signifier in meaning. The two then become inseparable, which bonds from their origins of structuralism of language. The signifier is a perception of the material, acoustic or visual signal, which triggers a mental image, the signified. The image we construct when we hear the word or see written. The two being inseparable are linked in the mind by an associative bond, creating as a result your linguistic sign, described as a two-sided psychological entity. Saussure's definition is influenced because of its effect on humanities. These processes are complexities of language and communication. The double entity, signifier and signified, is a constant reference for linguistic language. The mythical sign is Barthes's theory that he took from Saussure's definition of the existence. A myth of the visual stimulus as, for example, a haircut, which is one meaning in interpretation, which then triggers an additional meaning. In this case, humiliation, which is then a second meaning. This signified is second-order meaning, which is how Barthes refers to second-order system of signs, or a semi-logical system as myth. Neologism, and how can they resist the myth process? Barthes argues that in elements of semiology, every language develops on two planes. Number 1 consists of combinations of signs or systems. Each chain of speech is built on an individual sign and are articulated to form specific sequences or spoken chains based on grammatic coherence and have common poetic form. Number 2 would be the athletic, coordinated, strong, fast reflexes. The word is associated with the meaning through specific placement in spoken chain, as well as individual meaning delegated by society. The syntagm in society can be seen as neologisms taking form. One example would be Kinko's commercial. They call it To Office, which describes the new ability Kinko's can offer to companies. The noun office becomes a verb and in effect is given both new meaning and action in the context. The reader then becomes the producer of the meaning rather than the consumer. Based on vocab, patterning, perception, context may shape meaning in the mind, creating a new, unknown definition, which in association becomes perceived as real. Barthes is attracted to neologism because speech figures are derived from the poetic form, resisting myth because the meaning is then capable of becoming a reality. In this particular image, you have all the previous topics involved. Myth as a system of communication, including the previously stated form, concept, signifier, myth, and neologism. This image displays as a message of form, which then transverses into an action on a main concept. The form is arranged in an elegant, lovely manner, displayed advertising classic ingredients for a hearty Italian dinner, which creates an illusion of the food already made on the dinner table. The form then turns into the concept, which is reality. The ingredients is no longer the center of attention, but leads to a reaction, which is reaction 2, which is branding. Therefore, if you purchase Panzani, you will have the best Italian meal ever. The end.